And then we got to question 3. Okay. Goed, hulle gee vir jou in die diagram hieronder, gaan die sirkel deur A, B en E. Does the circle pass through the point D? No. You can see it on the sketch, and in the description they say the circle passes through A, B and E, not D. And that you have to pick up immediately and see that you cannot use any statement that requires D to be on the circle circumference. Ek dink ek het by meeste van julle geskryf eers, D is nie op die omtrek nie. Where you used it, I tried to be consistent with pointing out why that cannot be true. Because you use statements, like for instance, cyclic quad, if I'm correct now. I think you guys use cyclic quad there. It isn't on the circle circumference. So you can't use that statement. Okay, so julle moet dit onmiddellik optel. Dan sê hulle ook vir jou dat A, B, C, D is a parallelogram. So you have to know that there are certain things that we can deduct from a parallelogram. You can deduct that the set of opposite sides are parallel to one another. Parallel lines opens up a whole new world of reasons that you can use. One thing that I want to underline is that a lot of you used co-interior angles and said that they are equal to one another. Co-binnehoeke is supplementair. They're supplementary, meaning that they add up to 180. So a lot of you said this angle is equal to that angle, co-interior angles. You can't use co-interior angles to prove two angles equal to one another because co-interior angles are supplementary. And you guys see why I'm a bit worried, because that is grade 8 geometry. Ne? Goed. So they give us that this angle is equal to x. And then they say, give a reason why this one is also equal to x. I almost want to say, put up your hands if you say Tawn-Chord theorem, because almost all of you say Tawn-Chord theorem. It is true that the line BC is a tangent. But let's just quickly clear out what that means. It means that the angle between a chord and a tangent, there's the chord, is equal to the angle in the opposite circle segment. C1 isn't even in the circle. So you cannot use that there. Okay. So the reason was so much simpler. Wie die rede raak gesien? Look at the parallel lines. Nee? Do you see that those two are corresponding angles? Hulle is ooreenkomstige hoeke. Okay, so now we know that this one is also equal to x. Even if you missed 3.1, you may now use that angle equal to x in 3.2. Want hulle sê nou vir jou, noem met redes 3 ander hoeke wat ook gelyk is aan x. There were 4, I think. 3 or 4. Well, there's definitely 3, but I think there were 4. Okay, so the one that you can see easily is the tan-chord one, where you say that if that is the basis of the circle, do you see, of the triangle, that is a chord, dan moet hy mos gelyk wees aan die hoek, die ander hoek in die driehoek. So this one is between a tangent and a chord. And this one is the angle in the opposite circle segment. Do you see that? Okay, so ons kan maklik sê by 3.2 dat hoek E2 is gelyk aan x en my rede is hoek tussen raaklyn en koord. Then they gave you parcella that those two lines are equal to one another. So if you have this one, you can say B2 must also be equal to x. What will my reason be? Hoeke teenoor gelyke sye. Not angles of an isosceles triangle. Never that. The reason has never been that. The reason is always angles opposite equal sides. Do you agree? Have you guys heard that before in your life? That the reason is never angles of an isosceles triangle. Onthou julle dit? Unfortunately, in maths, we expect you to remember the things we tell you. Okay, who can see another one? If we look at this one, anyone? Remember, this is a parallelogram. En die teenoorstaande hoeke van 'n parallelogram is ewe groot. Do you guys remember that? So this complete angle A, which I would prefer you write DAB, is also equal to x, opposite angles of a parallelogram. Maar daar was nog een gewees wat 'n bietjie makliker is. Ek moet eers kyk hoeveel is hier in totaal. Ja.
For the DAB equals to x, I say angle C is equal to angle A, opposite angles of the side.
It's not a cyclic quad though, it's because it's a parallelogram. Because remember, you're talking of this one that I highlighted pink. And the thing that I highlighted pink isn't the cyclic quad. So if you said opposite angles of a parallelogram, then yes. Because remember also the opposite angles of a cyclic quad, they're not equal to one another. They're supplementary. No? Okay. Kyk, daar's een wat jy kan doen met die parallelle lyne. Look at this one. You see, it is alternating to E3. Sien julle dit? There's the Z. Do you see that? Or the N? Whichever one you use. So the angle E3 will also be equal to x. Alternating angles AB parallel to CD. Any three of those, you would have gotten 2 marks for each, yes. Wat het jy gesê? Ja, gee my 'n oomblik. Jy moet eintlik sê teenoorstaande hoeke van 'n parallelogram. So ek gaan vir jou die punt gee vir jou hoek. Okay, then for 3.3, yeah, 3.3 they ask you to prove that this thing is a cyclic quad. The pink thing is a cyclic quad. Okay, so. Nee, dit is hy wat 'n koorde 4-hoek is, ek jok. Kom ons maak hom groen. Okay, so stem julle saam, ons het nou al bewys dat daai hoek gelyk is aan x, dat daai hoek gelyk is aan x, dat daai hoek gelyk is aan x en dat daai hele hoek gelyk is aan x. Do you agree? Okay, now if we look at that green thing, do you see that this is the exterior angle of a cyclic quad? Or of this quad that we are trying to prove, and that this is the opposite interior angle. Sien julle dit? So ons het reeds bewys dat die hoek E3 gelyk is aan die hoek DAB. And because those are equal to one another, we can say it must be a cyclic quad. And your reason will be converse exterior angle of cyclic quad. Toe kom ons julle gesê ons het 3 maniere om dit te bewys, né? Die omgekeerde van die buitehoek van 'n koorde vierhoek, omgekeerde van hoeke in dieselfde sirkelsegment en omgekeerde van teenoorstaande hoeke van 'n koorde vierhoek is supplementêr. So you have to use one of those three. Okay. Any questions on question 3? This was the more difficult of the geometry questions, specifically 3.3, and I would say maybe 2.2 as well. Those were the two more difficult geometry questions. So I wouldn't be angry if you missed those two. I would be utterly disappointed if you missed the 6 marks for 3.2 and if you missed the 5 marks for 2.1, because those are the ones that you need to get. Those are the easy questions. Okay, goed. Ons gaan aan met die 3.